welcome, beautiful people. How y'all doing today? I am a little bit under the weather, so y'all gonna have to excuse me today, but I am definitely a little bit under the weather. The question remains, is the black race being quietly diminished? And that is what we're going to talk about today. Welcome back to the Zipmouth Motivation Show, where we do not avoid the uncomfortable truths. The uncomfortable truths, because y'all know there are a lot of uncomfortable truths out there. So we do not avoid the uncomfortable truths. We don't perform outrage for clicks. Y'all know I don't care about likes, because one thing I know is people are always watching. People are always watching, even if they don't like it, even if they don't make a comment or anything like that, they are always watching, because that's what we do. We like to see what somebody said, even if it's for 5 minutes. We want to see what they're talking about. Today's episode is not about panic. It's not about hate. It's not about blaming one group of people. It's about awareness. Because many of us are feeling something that's hard for me to name. That's hard for me to name. Y'all know it every time I try to get on my show. Every time. But many of us are feeling something that's hard to name. It feels like Black culture, Black history, and Black collective presence are being quietly minimized, right? Not loudly erased, not openly attacked, but diluted. And what makes this dangerous is not what's happening, it's how normal it's starting to feel. And that's the thing that makes it dangerous. Let me name, or let's do this. Let's name what we're seeing without calling it, without making it seem like a hateful thing, right? Just giving you a different perspective of it. Martin Luther King Day this year, yesterday, treated like a regular work day, right? A regular work day. Fewer companies closing or honoring it meaningfully. It's as if like, oh no, this didn't happen. Oh no, this isn't something big. Some places I saw the people didn't even show up for parades because they weren't announced that they were going to happen in time. So we'll talk about that in a second. But so either it was underfunded or poorly attended because, like I said, some places didn't even announce. Like we're having parades this year. Schools compressing Black history into to 1 month, right? Cultural celebrations being reframed as optional. As optional. And some people say, well, times have changed. Well, it's about productivity. Or, well, we shouldn't need a day, right? But here's the truth, right? Here's the truth. How society commemorates history reveals what it values. And so if you know me and if you listen to my show at any time or any time or any place or anything like that, you know that I'm big on value. Because what you do, what you say, how you act with someone shows how you value and what you value. And so it's important to be valued because if you're not valued, then you're going to be devalued. So um, that's what's happening. Like that's what's happening. When remembering becomes inconvenience and it gets prioritize. So they no longer want us to remember, and they want us to not make it a priority to remember. And it's not like some of us don't remember, but if you think about it, a lot of people who really remember are kind of like dying out. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, because I'm not a big Martin Luther King fan. I love Martin Luther King. I love what he did in the end. But in the beginning, we all know he worked for the CIA. He was against us in the beginning until he started to make sense, until he started to think like, wait a minute, these are my people. Why are we doing this to these people? But sometimes money speaks louder than actions, right? That's a common thing. The moment I'm not always about this in this moment, like I'm not about the outrage of the racism, because racism does exist and it probably exists for the rest of our life. But I think the biggest thing for me is I'm a little bit outraged about the dilution of who we are as a people. And the fact that some of us have become okay with it. It's about the dilution. When you think about it, let's put it in examples of food. You got your GMO food, your fake food, and then you got your non-GMO food. I know there were millions and millions of people in this world who were outraged when they found out that this food is not real. Because who feeds people fake food? Like, it doesn't add up. None of that is adding up as to what is doing, what is happening, or what people are trying to do to other people for no apparent reason. It's like a whole ball of science tricks, or what do you call it? Oh shoot, I forget the name. What do you do? Like science project. It's like they're making everybody out of a science project. Dilution looks like celebrating Martin Luther King's quotes without his critiques. Dilution looks like honoring diversity without confronting the inequality. You know what I'm saying? We're going to honor diversity, but we're not going to name the fact that, there is no equality amongst people. Dilution looks like praising unity while avoiding justice. It's almost like it's always like this, like you have this and then you have this, but you really can't have one without the other. If you really think about it. Remembering the dream while ignoring the demand. It just doesn't add up, y'all. It does not add up. And please excuse me, I know I'm country. So, but I'm highly educated. But very country. But it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up at all. Let's be clear about who Martin Luther King Jr. actually was, though. And I'm talking about who he was in the end part. He was just peaceful. Now, me personally, I'm Malcolm X. I'm not that peaceful. I'm not that peaceful in instances where there is injustice, where there is disrespect, where there are things that are not fair. I'm not that peaceful. So, yes, like I said, I love what Malcolm X was doing in the end part. I love what he was doing. I love that he gained the knowledge and he understood what they were forcing him to do. I love that for him. I absolutely love that for him. He was disruptive, like in that end part when he finally learned like what was going on and how they were using him. He was like, wait a minute. We gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like after he had that dream, it was like, okay, wait a minute. He challenged capitalism and challenged war. Like a whole world against one race or two races or three races, but whatever. A whole world against people that are just commonly trying to live, that don't want to be enslaved, that don't want to be less than, but want to be treated like everybody else. He challenged comfort. I don't understand what, like when I thought about it, I was like, okay, he challenged comfort, but how did he challenge this comfort? He challenged comfort because he was telling people basically like, listen, we could do this together. We don't have to be separate and do this. We could win together. But do you think like maybe greed set in? And so they were choosing not to do this together? When his day becomes optional, his message becomes manageable. Meaning like we can change the message. We can change the narrative of the message. We can change the narrative of the message. But why do we need to change the narrative of the message? Because the message is the message, right? When you say something, you say, I said what I said. So he said what he said. Yes, he messed up in the beginning. And I don't even think that's the cause. I think the cause is the fact that people want to dilute who we are and what we stand for. Now, like, do we have to have a parade? No, when I was a little girl, we used to march in Clearwater. And I think, I can't really remember where, but I know we used to start in Greenwood. And then we used to march, maybe it was downtown or somewhere, I can't really remember. We used to start downtown and march to Greenwood. I can't remember, but I know we used to march. I don't remember going to any parades when I was young. So, parades was a new thing for me, but I don't remember going to parades. I remember marching. I remember us marching the whole time because I remember thinking like, this is a long walk every time, but every time I was excited to do it. And maybe because I felt like it was a meaningful thing. Maybe I felt like it was something powerful, something that I should be doing. We live in a time where symbolism is cheaper than action, right? It's easier to post a quote, share a graphic, and change a logo. That's the space that we live in right now. But real commitment costs. Real commitment costs. So we have the symbolic honor versus real commitment. But real commitment costs. It costs time. It costs money, inconvenience, discomfort. It costs those things. Excuse me. It costs those things. When institutions move MLK Day into you can work if you want, it sends a message. It sends a message. And it brings division. I think that so many things in this world bring division purposely. You know what I'm saying? So people can choose a side of who they on. They can't be on the side of unity, power, and love. We need y'all to be on the side and start to hate each other. And I think that's like, in my opinion, that's what the world does all the time. It does it like on social media. It does it in schools. It does it in jobs. There's always has to be this separation of people, of situations. And yeah, like, hey, you can celebrate it if you want to, but you don't have to celebrate it. But how do you have a national holiday for years where businesses and things are closed and then you tell them, oh, well, you get to pick. But then on other holidays and things like that, you don't get to pick. Post office is closed. You can't get your mail. The government offices are closed. You can't go into them. So we got to pick a struggle. Either we're going to celebrate holidays or we're not going to celebrate holidays. Either you're going to have the option for all holidays to choose whether you want to celebrate them or not, and businesses need to be open. And that means government businesses too. Or we're not going to do it. Because now it's seeming like there is a big dilution when you think about how they took certain books out of schools and how they don't teach African-American history anymore in school, and they don't want others teaching it as well. And so I want people to pay attention, because although people say, oh, they've been our tribes like that, we are not our ancestors. No, we are not our ancestors. We are not. We are definitely not our ancestors. We are not. Everybody, everybody has like so much to say about what they're going to do if this happens, if that happens, but they don't realize how it's secretly happening right up under your nose. And we so focused on some other stuff that we don't even realize what's happening in this moment. We don't even realize what's happening in this moment. Y'all think that the people, think that they bring in ICE in here just to remove people who are not from here, people who don't have their visas and things like that. Those people have been here for years, on top of years, on top of years, on top of years. They've been paying taxes and getting back income taxes. It's not nothing different. They've known that they've been here. But what they're doing is they're desensitizing. They're desensitizing so that when they create this martial law, when they create these things, that when they step into your house and they take your sons and they take your husbands or your boyfriends or whoever, and they take those people, you're afraid. You're scared. You're crying. You're all wrapped up and tied up. So when they start taking things and people don't start saying anything about it, then they continue to take things. We so focused on, oh my God. We so focused on the wrong stuff, y'all. We literally focus on the wrong stuff. Their framing matters more to people. Let's talk about our responsibility, because this is not a one-sided thing. If we're honest, many of us are tired. We're burnt out, overworked, emotionally exhausted. It seems like the whole world is in survival mode. The whole world is in survival mode. If you are not at the top of the pole, you are in survival mode right now. You are flustered and frustrated, whether it's emotionally, whether it's you tired of work, no matter what it is, there is something that is frustrating and taking you out of your element. And exhaustion leads to disengagement. Fewer people want to organize. Fewer people didn't want to attend. It was cold. In Florida, it was 31 degrees. What? I was talking to my friend in Missouri, and he was telling me it was 32 degrees there and snowing. So you telling me that, Missouri and Florida had the same degrees? If y'all don't wake up, we are going to be in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble for doing this podcast, but we are going to be in trouble. Fewer people wanted to do any funding. Fewer people teaching the next generation. You have people that are trying to teach the next generation. You have lots of people that are trying to teach the next generation. But the generation that they want to destroy is Generation Z. Because Generation Z, they don't care. They don't care. We were at the parade, excuse me, at the aftermath of the parade. And it's a lot of traffic. We were scared to cross the street. These kids was stopping cars. Guess what? We was going with them. They didn't care. We stopping cars. They gonna stop for us. You see us walking, it's our turn. Let's go. Whereas in an older generation, we like, oh man, we don't want to get hit by no car. These people be tripping. They didn't care. And this is what they fear. They fear the pushback. They fear the digital brain of these kids, of this younger generation. So let's silence the history. We don't want them to know who they are. We don't want them to know about their history and who they were. Like I said, they will tell you that Martin Luther King was the greatest man. He was a great man. He got bamboozled. He got fooled. Just like a lot of us do. Think about the gentleman who did the tenderism. How he made up that word and they copyrighted it and put him at a different restaurant off the camera because he got too big. He brought us in. But that's not unbeknownst to them. That's not unbeknownst to people who don't care. It's a using thing. It's a dilution, a diminishing of something. And at what point do we start fighting for more? At what point do we decide, like, okay, listen, we still got this going on. This is us. This is who we are. And we're not going to let nobody just push us out the way. I always tell people, think about your grandchildren, think about your children, think about the people that come after you've gone. What do you want them to see? What do you want them to understand? What do you want them to learn? Now, I do get frustrated because I feel like we only talk about a few people in our history. We only teach the kids about a few people, but there are so many amazing people that done amazing things in our history. But let's not let anyone dilute it. Silence doesn't erase history, but it creates room for it to be sidelined. So if we don't say nothing, then we get sidelined. If we don't protect our culture, no system will do it for us. Yeah, we can get on the internet and we can do our dances and we can talk our language and we can do all of the things above, right? But if we're not protecting our culture, who is going to protect our culture? And if it's not a big deal to you, why not? Y'all allow these people to normalize behavior that we didn't even, it's not even us. I saw something this weekend that aggravated my soul. Aggravated my soul. I was somewhere and I was with some friends and they were selling some stuff and I was really just hanging out, like just hanging out with them. And of course, it's like a strip, but it's in the neighborhood. It's in the neighborhood, right? It's a strip. And people who live in the neighborhood are like hanging on the strip. They're not bothering anybody. And yeah, they probably were drinking, but guess what? They're in their neighborhood so that they're not driving cars and hurting people. They're not in anybody else's neighborhood messing with them. They are in their neighborhood, close to their homes, on foot, talking, laughing, mingling with people, and just doing what they're doing. I counted how many times these police officers roll up and down the street just to intimidate people. Then they ride down the street and they turn on the lights, and I watched the whole strip get quiet. The whole strip got quiet. Of course, there is a noise ordinance, but y'all, it's not until 11 o'clock. I need y'all to learn what y'all rights are. It's important that y'all learn what y'all rights are. So then you have a fight. I watched these police officers intimidate these people. And of course, the first time I'm going to watch, the second time I'm going to say something. For what? People don't need to be controlled. People need freedoms. But I don't watch this in other spaces. I don't watch this in downtown Tampa. I don't watch this in downtown St. Pete. I don't watch this in downtown Miami. I don't watch this in other places. It's a dilution. It's a control. And at what point do we say enough is enough? Disengagement doesn't mean we don't care. It often means that we're in survival mode. We feel like we have to do this. Because if we don't, we're not going to survive. And how many times have I said that trauma starts in the womb? It starts before you was even born, when you was just a seed. That trauma that was placed in your life from your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your great-great-grandmother, your great-great-grandfather, all those things they're already attached on you. And this is why I tell people it's so important for you to be, for you to understand who you are truly before the traumas. Economic pressure will make you feel like you're disengaged. Emotional fatigue. I'm tired of going through this. I'm frustrated. Like listening to one of my friends, just listening to the conversation and the intenseness of what people are tired of. Constantly having to adapt to every situation, just because, like, if I don't adapt, I'm not going to survive. But here's the danger in that. When survival becomes the only focus, legacy disappears. It disappears. You no longer have a legacy, or you're no longer able to focus on your legacy when survival mode becomes the only focus. And this is why I tell people, like, lately, I've been going through a lot of stuff. And people like, well, I didn't want to call you. I didn't want to ask you. I didn't want to this. I'm like, I don't care. Let me tell you something. I'm not getting stuck in survival mode because I'm going to survive. That's not what I'm worried about. What I'm worried about is getting to my next level. You have to be unstoppable. No matter what happens, no matter what comes, you have to be unstoppable. And that's how you hold on to your legacy. If I allow everything to push me this way and push me that way, and I don't have emotional intelligence, and I don't try, and I don't continue to push forward, even though I'm frustrated, even though I'm angry, even though I got this going on and that going on, and this is not coming together like I wanted to come together. If I stop, what do I teach my children? What do I teach my legacy? A legacy is what protects identity when conditions change. That's what protects your identity, is your legacy. When history is minimized and people start internalizing that, children notice. They notice what's celebrated, what's ignored, what's rushed, what's treated as, oh, this is just some extra stuff. They notice that stuff. They pay attention because this is how they learn. This is how they learn. I never saw my mom give up. I never saw it. I never saw her get so frustrated. We could come home one day and maybe the lights was out. We didn't call her at work like, oh, the lights out. Because we knew, because we never seen her get flustered. We knew that in 15, 20 minutes or an hour, they're going to be back on. We wasn't going to go all night like that. I never saw that. I never went to my grandmother's house and there was no food there. Because she was going to figure it out. Holding on to the legacy of who you are and not allowing these different things to make you disappear. Over time, this creates weakness in our culture. And this is the space we're at now. Because we're so stuck in survival mode, we're allowing people to tell us that we're in survival mode, but we're not, y'all. We allow the news to create an image of who we are and what we do. We allow TV and all these different things. I went to another event this week. I went to another event this weekend. And I think this event could have been a very, very nice event for queens to be there. Everyone was dressed. They was dressed. They was dressed. You talking about beat? They was beat. But then it was a little bit too crowded. It was very small space, very crowded, very, and we tend to do things like that because we're afraid to step out and say, let's make sure that we have more than enough space. Let's make sure that we are more than comfortable because we get stuck in these what if places. Over time, like I said, this creates and weakens our culture, confusion around who we are, detachment from our legacy, and what I just talked about, the normalization of less. It becomes normal to be less. It becomes normal to say, like, oh, well, this the hood. This how I go in the hood. This what it is in the hood. That becomes normal. I heard this young gentleman say, oh, everybody in the hood got roaches. I was like, no, they don't. But this is what people think of us. This is how people feel about us. And this is what they project on us. And this is what we accept in us. This is not about superiority. It's about continuity. It's about continuity. Let me be clear. This conversation is not about anti-unity or pro-truth. Acknowledging Black history does not divide society. Ignoring it does. That's what divides society. Honoring legacy does not exclude others. It enriches everyone. Because why can't we learn about everybody else? We learn about everybody else's history. Why they can't learn about ours? Why? And why have we become so blinded that we don't even create a space within our homes to do it too? It's frustrating. It is frustrating. Excuse me. It is frustrating. When any group's story is minimized, the collective understanding becomes thinner. We tend to forget. Awareness is not outrage, it's intention. Awareness looks like teaching history at home, supporting cultural events, supporting, showing up even when you're tired, funding our own institutions, and documenting our stories, not to fight, but to preserve. It's so many things that I get frustrated about. Like, it's so many things that when I think about it, I'm like, why do we do that? Like, I think like the Collard Green Festival is probably a good thing. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a good thing. But why are we depicted as the people that, like, why are we depicted as those people? The fried chicken festival, the watermelon festival. What? Because I don't know, some of us be eating hibachi. We be doing different things. And I'll say it again, people are different in different places. The mindsets are different. What is preserved is different. People say, well, what do we do next? I don't know. Y'all tell me. Y'all don't be listening. Y'all are it. Y'all are it. I continuously get on my podcast and I talk about people paying attention and paying attention to what's going on around them. I continuously say that. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to what's happening. Pay attention to what you see. Not being judgmental, but do something different. Don't let this world define who we are, define our legacy, define everything about us as if we don't know who we are. And as if we don't know what we bring to society. Because I keep telling people, somebody's lying. If African Americans hold 80% of the buying power, somebody is lying. Somebody is not that, somebody ain't that poor. But it's how we appropriate our funds. It's how we get together. I think this weekend I said, I'm so tired of competition. I'm so tired of us being shady towards each other. If 20 people are selling something, who cares? Do y'all know that there are billions of people in this world? Who cares? We're trying to hold on to a legacy. We're trying to hold on to something that is us, that is ours. That supports our growth, that helps our children, that reminds them, like, listen, this is you. Culture survives when people carry it, not when institutions approve it. Here's the shift that we need. Not they're taking things away, but how do we reinforce what matters? How do we do that? Because power isn't only about what's granted, it's about what's maintained. Just like I said, these people in their own community, they doing their own thing. They not bothering absolutely nobody. Nobody. They just deciding, like, I don't want to leave this space because I don't know what's going to happen to me outside the space. So this is where I want to be. Why? Oh, why are these people bothering me? Why are they riding up and down the street? There is other crime going on in other places that people seem to miss all the time. We got all these cameras and all these street light cameras and all these places in y'all ain't tired yet. Y'all ain't tired yet. Because this can't be real. I'm scrolling through social media because I don't watch the news. But I'm scrolling through social media and I'm looking at places where absolutely nobody showed up for the parade. I'm reading things that's saying things like the Martin Luther King parade wasn't the same, the spirit wasn't there, it was badly organized, it was this, it was that. What? So y'all just gonna let the culture, like, what? And who was in charge of these things? Who was in charge? And who tells who? Like, what? Who tells people who in charge? Who tells people this? Like, what happens? What's going on with the city councils and all that kind of stuff like that? They don't let me on these things. They don't even want to let me in the board of these jobs. But yeah, we got to do better. Like I said, culture survives when people carry it, not when institutions approve it. It survives when people carry it. I know people tired. I know y'all tired. Y'all tired of fighting against people that's trying to diminish us, take us out, and they trying to teach our kids a different way and all this kind of stuff. Like, I know y'all tired. But if you could just muster up a little strength, right? Just a little bit. And ask yourself, what parts of our culture am I actively protecting? Actively protecting. What parts? of our culture am I actively protecting? And don't tell me you actively protecting, like your ops and or getting away from your don't tell me. I don't want to hear that. Because the real op is the government. That's the real op. Y'all got the ops mixed up. I feel. It's almost like I got to get the little people because I'm scared of the big people. That's the real op. The real op is the fact that your states are our states. Let these things go through. That's the real op. The real op is that y'all let the news paint a narrative of us that is not true. That's the real op. The real op are police officers that are racist. And they don't have to be white officers because some of these black officers are a mess. A mess. They're ridiculous. They're awful. They have no understanding. All they know is control and hurt. That's it. Ask yourself, what have I stopped participating in because it felt inconvenient? I don't even have small children. I went to not the parade, the after party of the parade, just for the culture. Just for the culture. Because I don't have small children. So they weren't going to be thinking about no parade. But I went just for the culture. Just to be with my people. Just to be around my people. Just to see people dance in the street and enjoy themselves. Just to smell the food. Just to see the hugs. Just to see the laughter and people you haven't seen in a long time. I only went for that. I could have stayed home. I don't even live in Pinellas County anymore. It wasn't an inconvenience for me. It was something that I wanted to do. And then ask yourself, what do I want the next generation to remember? What do you want the next generation to remember? These questions are not accusations. They're invitations. Invitations to a better us, a new us, a stronger us, a more powerful us, a unified us. We've never been about hate. We've never been about that. That's how we end up in this situation, allowing people to come over here, get on our land, and we feed them. We give them food. They get us drunk, and then they captivate. They captive us. They take advantage. Pay attention, y'all. Young people, pay attention. Older people, grow up. Grow up. Y'all not blind. I can see. Y'all know what's happening. Watch these ice ages. They knew these people been here for years. They doing this for us. Desensitizing, reframing the mind, creating fear. And I get it. Some of y'all like, man, they trying to come over here with that. But are you really ready to lose your life about something that you believe? Are you? Because sometimes we just be sitting back. Sometimes we go to these meetings and it's like 5 of us trying to fight for a whole community. It's frustrating. Sometimes we attend these Zooms and all these different things and it's nobody. I would call so many like Black Panther groups, so many like Black groups or activist groups, and they don't even answer the phone. Like they literally don't answer the phone. You send them a text message, they don't even communicate. And I do this over and over again. I don't even give up. I do it over and over again. I don't even have a free podcast. Like, you don't come on my podcast for free. I understand somebody has changed people's perspective about they're featured on something. You should pay them to. Absolutely. I have my listeners. I've been doing a podcast since 2018. I'm just not a big social media person. I don't really care about Facebook and all that kind of stuff. I just post on those platforms because they say I have to in order to show y'all that I have a following. But I've been on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, all those things for a long time. So I have my listeners. I look at my analytics. I'm not paying nobody to come on my show. But I have asked many a times some of these activist groups that are doing something to come. And I'm not going to even charge you. I just want you to come because I want people to know that you're there. And if they want to be a part, they can be a part. Right? They don't even show up. They don't show up. They don't show up. They might book a time. They might say, I'm going to do it. They don't show up. I don't know what to say. But I will say that history isn't erased overnight. It fades when people stop carrying it forward. It isn't. Diminishment doesn't always come as destruction. Sometimes it comes as neglect, as optional, as not right now. And awareness is the first defense. The very first defense is awareness. Make sure y'all tap in to 101.5 Philly Vibe. Philly Vibe. Tap in every Tuesday at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. This is the Zipmouth Motivation Show. This is the Zipmouth Motivation Show, where we don't react emotionally. We respond intentionally. Preservation is not protest. It's purpose. And so we have a purpose here. We are purpose-driven people that are going to the next level, that are doing the next level, that are moving forward into the next level. But we can't move into the next level unless we have a sure understanding of where we're going. And as I said before, history isn't erased overnight. It fades when people stop carrying it forward. So ask yourself, am I one of those people that are not carrying this forward? Am I one of those people that just was like, it ain't that big of a deal? No, you know what? It might not be that big of a deal. But in a couple of years, or a couple of months, or a couple of days, when things rapidly change, and people are telling you where you can go, what you can do, what you can celebrate, what you're not allowed to celebrate, who comes first and who comes last. When they telling you all those different things, then it's gonna matter. You ever heard the word, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile? This is definitely fitting for that situation, for any situation. I hope that, no, I don't hope that I didn't offend nobody. I'm not going to say that because I hope that people are offended. I hope that you are. And I hope that you being offended means that it's going to help you change. It's going to help you see things a little bit differently. Again, like I say, this is Zipmouth Motivation, where we have the uncomfortable conversations. Things that people don't want to acknowledge, they don't want to talk about, and they don't want to be there for. I can understand for people who don't support Martin Luther King. He changed though. You know, like he changed over time. And we have to celebrate the change because people do change. Am I more of a Malcolm X person? Definitely. But I understood what he was trying to do. As always, this is the Zipmouth Motivation Show. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I only want to see people at their best. And right now, good people, after yesterday, we are not